Everybody, Ben here from Bonehead Podcast, and we've got a Kickstarter preview for you today. This is from Impact Miniatures, and it features Roman Orcs, so I have tentatively called it the Romorc Empire, because Roman Orcs, Rome Orcs. Now, Impact Miniatures have been making great Blood Bowl miniatures for a very long time, and this is the second Kickstarter we've had a chance to preview. This is going to be an STL Kickstarter featuring such models as these. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the STLs, talk about what we know about the Kickstarter coming up, and it should be landing towards the end of February, so we've got a few weeks yet, but it means you can keep your eyes peeled. And we're going to have a look at the models that I printed at 100% scale compared to some others, so you can get a really good idea of what these guys are going to look like on the pitch. And this Kickstarter is not only STLs for a fantasy football team, this is also for a fantasy orc Roman legion with weapons for all kinds of games, which I think is actually really cool. Now, these models were released by another company previously, and Impact picked them up and converted them, rightly so, into a fantasy football team. So $25 is looking, that's what we know so far, is going to look at getting you the team. $25 is going to look at getting you the army. $40 together will get you everything, and this is just a couple of the models that are there, and I wanted to show you them all fully geared up. I don't have access to the STLs for these, but they are pretty fun. You know me, I love fantasy war and I love Romans, so this is actually a pretty sweet deal. If this was 10mm, I would have already printed out an entire legion of them. Several legions of them probably. But you got these Black Orcs, and this, you can kind of see where the models have come from. You can kind of see their lineage. You've got the auxiliary archers, you've got the classic legionnaire look. I don't know, I thought it was pretty cool, and I just wanted to show it off because this is also going to be part of the Kickstarter. Okay, so let's have a look at a few of the STLs before we even go in and have a look at my printed versions. So you can see quality of sculpting is everything that you'd want it to be. Now, the orc style here is kind of the old school orc that has the I don't know, the kind of pig nose, the kind of undead zombie style nose. I actually really like it. It goes really well with the it kind of makes the orcs even less human-esque. It makes them more alien, more monstrous, and that goes really well because I love the way that that pairs up with the clearly industrialized weapons. It kind of makes me think of the brutes from Halo, right? They're these big chunking dudes with tech, and this is exactly like... This is the vibe I get from these. So you've got the classic kind of legionnaire armor. You've got the what is it, Lurica segmentata? I'm really sorry. It's been a long time since I've thought about this. But you've got the auxiliary, not the auxiliary. You've got the legionnaire's hat as well, which does not fit on, which I think is absolutely beautiful. I mean, I'm a big fan of the sculpts. The style, you will either love it or hate it, but I think it's excellent. And regardless of whether it's your style or not, it has been executed brilliantly, and it's been armored up. Sorry, it's been damaged up. Okay, so Black Orcs, they're not known for being the finest of people, so naturally their armor has got loads of battle damage to it as well, which, well, it makes it really good to paint, and also just gives you a really worn look, which is very suitable. Now we have to have a look at one of my favourite models from this Kickstarter, which is one of the Blitzers, one of the Orc Blitzers, because it's in full-on Roman garb. Okay, if you put this on any kind of race, you would know that this was a Roman. You've got that cool crest helmet, but this guy's got the full-on cloak. We've got like the flappy gladiatorial like leather bits at the bottom there, full-on leg armor as well. This is an absolute mighty model. Now, I printed this guy out, but actually I wanted to upscale it. 100% scale looks great, but the blitzers need to be big guys. So did I print it again? I might have printed it again at a bigger scale just to get what I wanted. It was a big imposing presence. I think again you can see that the sculpting quality is really good. You've got all this all this fur on the top, and you've got a bunch of skulls, and you've got that classic detail that you would expect from a good miniature product, you know, like Impact Miniatures. Okay, now we've got a couple of the goblin miniatures as well. They have got terrifying goblin faces, and that's something again I really like about the Kickstarters. I like the style. They're not humanish orcs. They look like goblins. They look like, you know, you would expect fairy tale creatures to look. They've got that just horrifying look about them. Then it's combined with the Roman armor that I really love. Now, in particular, I love that this dude has got a full tower shield as well, and it's just so cool. Like, imagine that. You've got your little frontliner goblins with their tower shields. It's just excellent. Now, I really like these. They printed out lovely as well, and the style carries on through. And the last model I'm going to show you in STL form is the Troll. Now, there's several different versions of the Troll in the campaign. But this one is just the best. Okay, this is Troll with Catapult, because it is a massive honking troll with a catapult on the back. Now that is just a great way to show throw teammate, which I absolutely love. I love that we've got the Roman theme. He's got a big old Legionnaire's hat on. He's got those Legionnaire's shields, the big tower shields, as you know, as shoulder plates. It is a very cool model, and if you look at the detail on the catapult as well, you've got the winch, you've got the handle. I love this it's just a great idea. You're throwing teammate. What a better way to throw teammate than to throw your teeny tiny Roman goblins with your massive troll wandering around with a catapult on the back. I thought it was an excellent design. I thought it was a really clever way to do it. And when printed up, these guys look pretty good on the pitch too. Okay, so let's have a look at some printed versions of these models then. So we'll start with one of the Orc linemen. If you guys have ever played Hero Quest, this is absolutely classic. The pose, the armor, it just looks excellent. This just looks like it's come straight out of a 90s board game, and I think it's absolutely flipping brilliant. So I've printed these on my Mars 2 Pro with factory settings, basically default settings, so you can see that the models have come out really nice. Now the versions of the files that we've got were not pre-supported. I'm not sure if the final Kickstarter is going to have pre-supported versions or not, because like I said, we got this one quite early on. But I mean, if you're 3D printing, you should be used to pre-supporting your own stuff, and I did, and it was absolutely fine. I don't think I had a single fail, so that was pretty great. I mean, you can see the detail there is great, and the whole point of these models is they paint up really well. You can see I've supported it there because you've got a little bit of a pock mark where I've done it. But I mean, it was one print. Now this is 100% scale, so I haven't changed anything when it comes to scale. So we'll have a look at the sculpts and then we'll do some size comparisons. We've got a Black Orc model here as well, and again you can see because of the sculpting style, the print came out brilliantly, and you can immediately see what's going on with all the different plates, all the different armor pieces there, and the model came out really lovely. So we've got Black Orcs, we've got some goblins. This is my favorite one with the little tower shield, very creepy goblin face, but excellent work on the armor and excellent work on the shield there, which I thought was really good. Now we will have a look at the size comparison in a second, because you're going to want to probably scooch up the goblins and the troll a little bit. But this is the thrower. I don't think we looked at the STL of the thrower. So this is based on the Eastern Archer STL, and it works brilliantly. It makes sense, you know, Orc thrower, less armor, just less orky, and actually he's got that kind of differentiated armor which works really well. He's got the ball, he's got that pointing arm. Yeah, I mean, it worked absolutely brilliantly. I was really happy with that. And we've got one of the other Blitzer models here. And again, you can see we've got that different Roman kind of general kind of Praetorian hat. You've got the Lorica Segmentata. You've got the boosted up armor, just a little bit more detail, a little bit more grandeur. And you've got that cloak. The cloak detail is really lovely, and it paints up without too much difficulty. But because they're orcs, you've still got this damaged effect on their armor, which has come out really nicely as well. Okay, last model we'll look at before we look at size comparisons is the Troll, and this is why. So the Troll model, I printed at 100% scale, and it has come up beautifully. I had to go for the catapult. You have to go for the catapult, surely, right? And it's great. You can see all the detail on the shield. You can see that it's just got little bits of damage everywhere, because it is a hunkin' big troll with some armor slapped on it, which is really, I just love the aesthetic. So we'll start here for size comparison. I printed the troll, and I thought maybe he's a little bit small, but actually when you compare him to an ogre, like a Games Workshop ogre, actually the size is bang on, and this is where you kind of have to work within your own guidelines. You have to kind of decide what it is that you want. Now, this is my test print, and you know, up against an ogre, it's about the same size, and it's probably about right. Not big enough for me. I would boost this up to 110% to make sure that he was nice and sizey. Slap him on a 40mm base. Maybe even run two of them, and you've got him all ready to go for your goblin team. But I mean, that's the great thing about 3D printing, is you can just change the scale. If it's not big enough, you just print it again and boost up the size factor. So the troll is excellent. The goblins are brilliant, but again, you're probably going to want to boost up the scale ever so slightly. If you take a goblin and you put it against a Black Orc goblin, you know what? It's actually probably about right, isn't it? It is about right. It just looks a bit small next to all the orcs. But actually, if you're running a goblin, it's going to come out about the same size as a Black Orc goblin. And that is basically where you want them to be, isn't it? And if you've got the little shield guy, I really do like this model, and I know it's silly, but that's actually really good fun. Okay, so we've looked at most of the positionals. We've got a couple of painted up versions here because I think it's really important you see what they can look like. Now, I painted this in an evening with a few other models, and I wasn't trying particularly hard, so forgive me, I know it's not masterful. But I really like how this model has come up. It was very easy to paint, and I know I've done the classic Ben thing of paint colours on and then chuck agrax, but look, I think it looks great. A little bit of flesh tone on the lips there, and you can see all the battle damage comes up so easy, and with a nice bit of agrax, it just kind of, all the dents and all the crevices just look dirty and worn. I am a big fan of how these models look. And then there's the Black Orc model, which I think is awesome. So these Black Orcs are just brilliant. If you look at them size-wise, let's compare them to a Black Orc from the Games Workshop team. This is 100% scale. I think this is bang on where you want them to be. They're big dudes. They've got the same kind of stature and kind of height as the old Black Orcs. So before Black Orcs came in and became Black Orcs, they were the big unblockers, were the original Black Orcs, and that pose and that height just really fits into that positional. So I love this, and I had an absolutely brilliant time painting it because you're just painting some armor, some bright color, some green flesh tone, and it came up really, really nicely. I really was really happy with these models. I mean, it was an easy print and it was a very easy paint as well, and I am always up for an easy paint. One last thing to go over is this Kickstarter comes with your blitzers. Now, I love this blitzer model, and when you print him off and put him up to a Black Orc, actually it's about the right size, but I wanted to reprint my guy at 110% to give him a nice chunky bit of size. But you can see that compared to the Games Workshop stuff, they're a little bit slighter, but they are taller, and you know what, it really works. Okay, so there you have it, some of the preview models from the Rome Orc Empire. A couple of final thoughts. It's STLs, so you will have to print them yourselves. If they come supported, that's awesome. If they don't come supported, they are not difficult to support, and at 100% scale they came out beautifully. Now, the great thing is here is you can tailor them to your sizing, so you can boost them up if you want them bigger or drop them down to be smaller. I'd say boost up the troll a bit and maybe boost up the blitzers so that they're nice and prominent, but otherwise they are absolutely good to go. Now, there was one tiny thing that was mentioned that actually hasn't mattered to me, in that there's kind of a couple of different poses for the positionals, and then you've got mirrored ones as well, which is perfectly fine. Okay, I mean, look at the Games Workshop teams. You get one blitzer and you need 4 of them. When it comes to this, you've got 2 different sculpts. They're mirrored. It works brilliantly. So although they're not like 16, 17 individual sculpts, there's like 10 or 12 individual sculpts with a couple of mirrors. It has not fussed me at all because the models are sculpted really well, and overall as a team it comes together brilliantly. I had a great time painting these. I mean, I love Romans, I love Orcs, so it was just really fun, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing this Kickstarter come out. It's unusual, it's definitely very stylized, but there's just something about it that I really love. I mean, look at this, it's just so good. I was impressed, as I always am with Impact Miniatures, to be fair. Anyway, keep your eyes out for the Rome Orc Empire Kickstarter coming. I will put the link to the Empire Miniatures socials below so you can follow them and keep an eye on it. But yeah, we'll wait with bated breath to see this. And a big thank you to them for letting us have a look at them a bit early on. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. We'll be back soon with more Blood Bowl content. Happy blocking. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to help support the channel even further, please like and subscribe, or come join us on our Patreon. We have early access to content, we get loads of feedback from you guys, and we try and do competitions as much as we can. Or you can get yourself some Bonehead podcast merch on our Spreadshirt site. So if you want to support a team, especially for the Bonehead Championship, you can pick up a shirt, a mug, things like that. It all helps support the channel, and we really appreciate it. Anyway, links below. Thank you very much. Happy blocking.